Here are the 3 toughest breeds that I have been training over the last decade, traveling the world, working with dogs professionally. I've accumulated the 3 toughest, in my opinion. Now, I borrowed this idea and was motivated from the idea from my friend Will Atherton, who put up a video on the 3 breeds that he hates to train. And I got to thinking, what are the actual 3 breeds that are the toughest breeds for me to train, in my experience? So let's get into it. Number 1 is going to be...
Drum roll, please.
Oh. The Shiba Inu. Now, for those of you who've been watching me for years, I've actually talked about the 3 toughest breeds, or the 3 breeds of my least favorite to train, and Shiba Inu is always on that list. Now, to give you a little history on the Shiba Inu and why they are the toughest breed for me to train, historically and generally and in the past, is, first of all, Shibas are beautiful, nice-looking creatures. They come from Japan, which I've always wanted to go to. I haven't been there yet. In 1992, the American Kennel Club, or the AKC, recognized the breed Shiba Inu. And they started off as hunting dogs for small game, rabbits, and now what they've become is something completely different. They are really not used for hunting at all, typically, and I've never seen them used for hunting. What we see in the Upstate Canine Academy for board and trains or for private training is Shibas are extremely sensitive. They're really more like cats than any other dog breed that I've ever worked with. Now, I have a cat. I like cats. I like all animals. And again, I have no problems with the 3 breeds on this list. It's just these are the toughest, hardest breeds to train as a dog trainer. And the Shiba really doesn't want to work. They, like a cat, will come to you when they want attention or seek affection from you. And if they don't want it, they won't be around. For the most part, they kind of just go and sleep all day, and then every now and then they'll come over for attention. It's not the dog that we go out and do a lot of other things with, in my experience. But again, it's not about lifestyle with dogs, it's about the 3 toughest breeds that I've trained. When we were doing a seminar in England a couple years ago, actually the first seminar we did in England, we had a Sheba owner in there, and she said, "Has everyone heard a Sheba scream?" And everyone's like, "No, not really." And I took the leash, and I just walked away from the owner, and the dog didn't want to go away from the owner and just started screaming. It's a dog that doesn't really want to conform to what we want them to do as owners, much like a lab or a golden retriever or even a German shepherd, that if we're like, "Hey, let's go work together," they're like, "I'll do anything for you." Shibas are not the type of dog that really want to do that. They're very stubborn. They don't give you a lot of engagement. They're typically not motivated by food. They really are just looking at you like you have to almost force them, it feels like, to get them to even move with you, to get them to want to work with you, to get them to be motivated to work with you. So as a dog trainer, Shibas are top on the list for that reason. If you have a Shiba, God bless. Now we're going to get into the breed number 2, or dos. That is going to be, drumroll, the Siberian Husky. Now, the Siberian Husky has always been on the list of most difficult breeds to train for me, for a lot of the same similar reasons, except some more that we're going to dive into. The Siberian Husky is really a working dog, which is nice, right? So the dog wants to work, but it's not a dog that really wants to do obedience. It's not a dog that says, "Hey, what do you want me to do for you?" They are very beautiful, intelligent, hardworking dogs, but only in the things that they actually want to do. So again, compared to maybe the golden retriever, or German shepherd, or a terrier that just says, "I want to go out with you and do a bunch of stuff that you want to do. How can we do it together?" The Siberian Husky, a lot like a Sheba, is going to say, "I'm not really going to do anything you want me to do. And if you ask me to do anything, I'm going to scream. I'm going to jump up in the air. I'm going to pull. I'm going to be stubborn. I'm going to lay on the ground." I remember, I'll tell you a quick story. I had a board and train one of my first MLB clients. For those of you who don't know, Major League Baseball. It's the big leagues, right? They played for a MLB team. They brought their Siberian Husky in. The dog actually did really, really good. His name was Whistle. He's an amazing dog from an amazing family, but he did good in our board and train. And I was like, thank God that this Husky is going to allow me, because that's what it feels like, to train him. And I remember bringing him up, and he saw his mom for the first time in, I think, 2 weeks. And he absolutely screamed and jumped up in the air and quite literally acted like he's never seen training ever in his life. It was one of the most embarrassing parts of my career. Luckily, the owner was like, "Yep, I knew this was going to happen. This is how he is." And at that point, maybe she thought, yeah, maybe this dog is actually untrainable, and she really didn't care. Luckily, For us, we actually did put in the work, and about 10 minutes later, he conformed back into, oh yeah, I remember training. But again, they're very emotional dogs, much like the Shebas, and they really, really, really vocalize, right? So when you ask them to do something, they scream and yell if they don't want to do it. Oh, they're howling. They are, again, really beautiful dogs, which is why I think a lot of people get them. They have this piercing blue eyes, and they have this beautiful, big, thick coat. They love the winter. They're great for photos. And a lot of people get them not realizing that they are one of the most stubborn dog breeds that do not want to work with people on the planet. And what that means is not that your dog doesn't love you, or maybe you don't love your dog. What that simply means is if you say, hey, let's go out and do some stuff together, nah, they'd rather not. They'd rather just pull you in a sled somewhere up in the mountains in the snow. Now, Siberian Huskies were originated in Siberia and brought to Alaska in the early 1900s. And of course, they did the thing that we all really know them to do now, which is sled dog training, right? So they literally were put on like a reindeer. They were put on this big sled and dragged people through the tundras and the cold weather and the cold climates to get them from one place to the other because, well, they didn't have machinery and or cars because it's probably too cold or there's too much snow. So Siberian Huskies are really great for the cold weather and they really like it. The problem is a bunch of people that don't live in Siberia or Alaska get these dogs in lower Manhattan and they howl their neighbors to sleep every night and it makes it very frustrating. So then what they do is they call Tom and they go, Tom, my Siberian Husky is so stubborn and so vocal and throws a fit and throws a tantrum and gets emotional almost when I want to train. And my neighbors think I'm harassing and beating my dog and they think I'm abusing my dog. And I'm like, well, you got a Siberian Husky. Unless you're going to put them up to the north and really give them free range and live in the snow and pull you around on a sled, they're going to be a stubborn, dramatic dog that really doesn't want to listen to anything. Now we're going to move on to breed number 3. But before we do that, I want to give you guys a little quiz. Is the Siberian Husky related to the wolf? No, they are not actually related to the wolf. They are a descendant from an ancient Siberian wolf, and they have same lineages, but they're not actually directly correlated with a wolf. Although they look wolfy, they're not. Now, let's do another fun drum roll to get into breed number 3. Number 3 is going to be, for me, the Great Dane. This is going to give some controversy because people love Great Danes, right? And it's a popular breed, mainly because they're one of the biggest, tallest breeds in the world, and people really like to have that. These dogs don't particularly like to work. And if you ask them as a dog trainer, hey, we got to go out and do stuff because your parents need you to do these things and you're not doing them, it's really difficult. Now, as a trainer, when you get a dog the size of a small horse or a mini horse, when you want them or you ask them to do something, or what I've seen, when they become aggressive, it makes for an absolute nightmarish disaster because of how big and powerful and strong they are. So when you get a dog that maybe doesn't like other people or doesn't like other dogs or maybe is just out of control, the seriousness is heightened considerably because of the 3 things I just talked about. They are gigantic and strong, which makes things a lot more dangerous and, as a dog trainer, a lot more difficult and more liability to deal with. The Great Dane originally was bred to hunt boars and were owned by upper class in the 1800s because it was a sport to go hunt boars, much as it is in the UK now to hunt wild and upland game. It's kind of a class system. And Great Danes originally were bred to hunt and chase boars. And of course, because of their size, they are natural born protectors. You see a Great Dane on a property, especially the crop deer Great Danes, which look terrifying. And if they are aggressive, then it's a really good reason to just turn around and not go to that estate back in the day when you were looking for jewelry or gold or whatever the heck they were trying to steal back in the 1800s. In 1887, the American Kennel Club, or the AKC, recognized the Great Dane as a breed. And believe it or not, and as a dog trainer, I actually can believe it, the Great Dane is the 15th most popular breed on the American Kennel Club list of most popular breeds. Great Danes originally came from Mastiffs, which gives them their big size. And over the years, they just kind of got skinnier, and depending on the breed, there's a lot of different mutations out there that make the dogs different color, have different colored eyes, and so on and so forth. So if you have a 150 to 200 pound giant dog and people no offense, typically get these dogs because they just want a giant dog and they don't have control. I've seen so many Great Dane owners walking around with a flat collar or harness on their dog and going for a sleigh ride like the Husky, the second breed that we talked about, and they have zero control. And then what ends up happening is the dog sometimes, because of the genetics that Great Danes will have, because they are the 15th most popular breed in the country, they start to have genetic issues, right? So that means their behavior starts to lack. So people aren't breeding Great Danes because they're really friendly, they're great with kids, they love other dogs, they have a great genetic disposition. They're breeding them because people will buy them, which means when they're cute little puppies, you have no idea that when this dog hits 8 months, they're actually going to turn aggressive. And now you have a 150-pound Now, again, just really quick before the Great Dane people out there get really upset about this, I've worked with Great Danes who are not aggressive, but I also have worked with Great Danes who are. And that's why I'm making this video. I'm not here to really make everyone happy watching this video. I'm just trying to tell you the honest opinion, and maybe somebody watching this video will do more research about buying a 150-pound to 200-pound dog that can, unfortunately, and sometimes turn aggressive because you didn't do your research about the breeder. So when you guys are getting any dog, but more importantly, getting back to the Great Dane, people will buy this little puppy and realize and know that this thing is going to get massive and giant, and they've always wanted a big dog because they were always told that maybe they couldn't have a big dog, and now that they do have a big dog, and now the dog is aggressive. So as a trainer, I have to work with this giant mini horse that doesn't like other people or doesn't like other dogs, and it is very difficult. And that's why the Great Dane is number 3 on the list of dogs that are the most difficult to train. Now, I've made this list because I do get this question a lot, and again, my friend Will Atherton inspired me to do this, and I just thought it was interesting, and people always ask me, Tom, what are the hardest, what are the best? We're gonna make the videos on the best breed, which if you're watching this now, you can probably find up here, or if it's not here, it will be in the future, because we're filming that next. So I hope that this was helpful. If it was, leave a comment, let me know what breeds you have, or if you have a Sheba, a Siberian Husky, or a Great Dane, and you've either experienced these things or you haven't, I'd love to know and have a conversation in the comments. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and it was all in good fun. And have a wonderful day, happy training, and thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace.